means it's happening. Hillary Clinton waking up in Iowa this morning, ready to hit the ground running in her presidential campaign. She has her first official event today. Despite being the overwhelming favorite in the Democratic field, remember, she is the only one in that field right now, does she have obstacles that stand in her way? What about those memories of 2008 when that front-runner status simply evaporated? I'm joined this morning by New York Times political correspondent Patrick Healey, who covered Clinton's campaign in 2008, some other campaigns as well. Patrick, great to have you here.
Great to be here, John.
Talk about sort of the number of things she has between her and the nomination right now, or perhaps her and the presidency is more accurate because there's no one else in the race right now. Let's talk about the most recent kerfuffle to get her way, the email situation right now, the fact that she used her personal email account. She was at the State Department. How big of a deal do you think that will be?
Right. It just invited all the questions to come back about trustworthiness, about secretiveness. It played into this long-standing idea of the Clintons sort of being different than the rest of us, sort of above and operating by their own rules. The problem with that, I don't think so much is that she's going to go to Iowa and people are going to be saying, the email server, that's what I care the most about. It's more that there's just going to be this level of discomfort that people are going to have a tough time getting over. That's why she's going to do these small events to look people in the eye as much as possible, because when you do that, people think, well, maybe she doesn't have that much to hide.
It's not about the email. People don't care about email. Did the news conference she gave at the United Nations to answer the questions, did that fix the problem?
I don't think so. The people who are going to ask those questions are going to just keep asking them. You know, never.
All right. What about another issue that really became a very, very big deal when she was Secretary of State and still is? Benghazi. She could be testifying, a presidential candidate, major candidate, testifying before a congressional committee within the next month and a half.
Right. And you know how the Republicans are, John. They're not going to let this go away. This is an issue that they can be putting to her in terms of her record at the State Department, her credibility, her leadership skills. She clearly wants to run in part on her foreign policy record. The thing that will be interesting is, will this become the issue that defines her State Department tenure? Will people be saying, well, what else did you do? Did you have a big accomplishment to set off against this disaster?
Of course, and we'll get to that in a second, because the State Department record could become a very big issue here. But what about the idea when she testifies, as she did already once before Congress, could that backfire against Republicans? Could Democrats rally around Hillary Clinton when they see her facing harsh questions in a congressional committee?
Oh, that's the thing, John. Whenever she is seen as being under attack too much, whenever she's being seen as being beaten up too much or held to a double standard sort of in the public perception, I think her sort of likability goes up. I think even people who may have mixed feelings about her start to say, well, wait a minute, is this sort of going too far? And they kind of like the fighter Hillary. I mean, the degree to which the Republicans can bring out the overconfident, presumptuous Hillary as opposed to the fighter Hillary, they're sort of better off doing that.
That's been the Clinton conundrum for both Clintons for decades and decades now. We talked about the State Department record. We talked about Benghazi. You know, foreign policy was seen as a strength of Hillary Clinton up until maybe the last few months, when so much of this administration's foreign policy has been thrown into chaos. Is this going to be a problem for her?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to hover over. I mean, she's still going to be remembered as Obama's Secretary of State. If John Kerry starts striking like major deals, major accomplishments, he's going to be the successful Secretary of State. She's going to be remembered for visiting 112 countries, but not these deals. And then it becomes a bigger question of, well, where were her instincts on a crisis point like Benghazi? What else did she manage to do? The thing about her, though, is that she clearly wants to pivot to the domestic policy side. She doesn't think that people are going to vote for or against her based on whether President Obama gets an Iran deal. I don't think it's that. I think it's about, at least in the short term, galvanizing, energizing Democrats by being seen as a different kind of Hillary, a little bit more of a populist Hillary.
So we've gone down this list right now, and it's not until we're like deep into number 4 where we actually talk about other possible Democratic candidates. That's Martin O'Malley, the former governor of Maryland. This guy's vice president. He is a sitting Democratic vice president. Joe Biden hasn't said whether he's going to run or not. Is there another Democratic possibility?
Yeah, it seems unlikely. I mean, they want to run. John Kerry probably wants to run. As you remember, 2004, you know, that was a very tough loss for him. I think the thing isn't so much is someone there who can outraise Hillary, who can beat her consistently in caucuses and primaries. The question is, can someone really bruise her, really damage her in a way when she goes into a general election where she's weaker. That seems a little unclear. It's possible, I mean, if they can sort of reinforce people's misgivings about her, but it seems more likely that the bruising is the concern more than, oh, we're going to lose Pennsylvania to Bernie Sanders.
More than that, I think a guy like Martin O'Malley wants to be seen as a viable alternative.
Absolutely.
If something unforeseen happens, that's why he's out there right now. This guy, Joe Biden here, you know, I think probably not likely to get it, at least not yet. Patrick Healey, great to have you here with us on New Days. Really appreciate it.